What's going on? It's your boy Sermon at Sermon's Domain on Twitter. How do you make it in life? This is a question that has plagued mankind for centuries, and it changes with every generation. I'm not saying that it was easier to make it and follow your passion and your dreams back in the 80s and 90s, but in most of that time, there wasn't the internet. So it was different. It might not have been easier, but it might have been simpler. Now the internet, you have all these endless possibilities, and it might be pulling you every single which way, and you might be overwhelmed and stressed. I know I am sometimes. This is something that I think about a lot. How do I achieve my dreams? How do I reach that level of financial success, doing what I love to do? I'm far from an expert on this subject, but I'm someone who tends to read and listen a lot more than I talk. Like, my YouTube channel is probably where I talk the most, but for the most part, I don't like to sit here and just talk for the sake of talking. This past week, I've been really mulling over this quote that Donald Glover said in his profile on Esquire magazine. It's a really stellar profile. I'll include it in the description section so you could check it out. It's well worth the read. It's long, but it's necessary. It's something that really highlights the genius of Donald Glover. In this profile, the quote that he says that has me thinking was, "Make stuff that no one else will make." Part of the reason I do what I do is because I'm the only one who can do it. I feel like it's a fascinating quote that really sums up the key to success in life. It's one of those things where there's a lot of evidence to back it up. So for instance, over the last month, I've been listening to a lot of new artists. I go to audiomack.com and listen to the trending section because I want to hear what is popular, what songs are being listened to and streamed, and what songs have the potential to blow up, and also to find some good music. I'm a music fan above all. Unfortunately, every time that I feel like I go into the trending section, I hear a lot of the same stuff. It's all trap sound and style. And honestly, that is easily a way to get hot. That's how you get hot nowadays. You could blow up off your first song if it sounds like everything else. But you won't sustain. It's all about getting to your dreams and sustaining it. And for a lot of these rappers, they're going to see that short-term success, but they're not going to achieve longevity. Because we have a Future, we have Migos, we have Young Thug. Just three names who are among the leaders of the trap sound. Most of these rappers are just following. It sucks because longevity and identity, they really go hand in hand. If you have an identity, you can experience longevity. Not just in music, but in life. But for the sake of what I'm talking about right now, I'm going to continue to use music. You have to look at our history, all the rappers that have achieved longevity, what do they have? You look at Lil Wayne, you look at Dr. Dre or Ghostface Killah, Kanye West. What do all these people have in common besides making music? They all have an identity. They all do what Donald Glover says. Not necessarily like Donald Glover commands them, but that quote that Donald Glover says. They're creating stuff that nobody else could create. Look at it like this. What other rapper in history could have made The Chronic? What group could have made and succeeded with a song called Fuck the Police? What rapper from the 90s could have pulled off a lyrical onslaught like LL Cool J did with records like Mama Said Knock You Out, and then turn around and make records where he's trying to steal your girl, like Hey Lover? Nobody. That's the answer. Nobody. These records and moments that spawned because of the records are unique to the artists that made them. Nowadays, you have all these different people trying to emulate what's hot. And that is going to get that short-term success, but it's not going to help you in establishing an identity. You're here today, you're gone tomorrow. That's how it will be if you are not establishing your identity, if you're not doing something that nobody else can do. I've been discussing like all the different things within music about identity, but it's really anything that involves chasing your passion. Anything in this internet era. Think about it. If you're a writer, are you writing stuff that nobody else is going to write? That's something that I really looked at when I was really writing, and I'm getting back into writing now. And so now I'm trying to still continue to write and talk about stuff that nobody else would do. I wrote about how Sisqó could have been one of the greatest R&B artists of all time, and I stand behind it. Nobody else has ever done that to my knowledge. They might have thought that, but nobody's written that piece. Or how I was getting into fictional storytelling, and I told a story about how G-Unit was going against Maybach Music Group in a wrestling event. That right there is something that nobody else would have ever done. If you're someone who is running a clothing line, if your clothing line didn't exist, would your designs be created by somebody else? Or is the stuff that you're doing only things that would be created from your mind? Nobody else would come up with what you have in your clothing line. Basically, is your identity unique? Something that is always said but not necessarily heard is that it takes time. Let me reiterate, it takes years. I'm in my 10th year of chasing my passion, and it has took me on a really long journey. I've been everywhere from being a writer to being a YouTuber to diving into social media, and I'm still finding different things here and there that I like. I wrote a comic book last year that I hope to publish sometime in 2018. So I'm still chasing passions in different ways, but all of it really feels unique to me. My identity is something that nobody else can duplicate. Because if I don't create the certain things that I'm doing, nobody else will. I'm not the first person on YouTube to do reviews, but you watch one of my reviews and you know that you're getting something different from everybody else. This is not me copying Needle Drop. This is not me trying to have like the reactions like Big Quint. I'm not trying to follow in anybody's footsteps. I created my own system. I talk about my own thoughts, and that's something that nobody else is able to do. If you look at all the rappers that have experienced longevity and ones that have an identity, you'll see that there are stories of them struggling and grinding for years to get where they are. It's not just like somebody handed them a golden ticket and they got on. No, a lot of these rappers, they struggled, whether they were, struggling with like bills, struggling mentally. Like there's all different types of struggle that some of your favorite rappers have gone through. But it was all worth it because at the end of the day, they have a career. They have done stuff that nobody else is able to do. I look at it like this. In this day and age, with the internet playing such a huge role, you have two paths that you can take. Will you chase what's hot? Will you try to jump on the bandwagon of what's popular right now and enjoy that short-term success? Or will you work countless hours to develop your voice, your brand, your identity, make it unique to yourself in order to have a chance at longevity, in order to live up to your potential? That is all that was inspired by Donald Glover's quote, where he said, let me rephrase it, let me say it again. Make stuff that no one else will make. Part of the reason I do what I do is because I'm the only one who can do it. All of this discussion was inspired by that one quote. And I hope that you watching at home, you got something out of it. You feel inspired, you feel motivated, or at the very least you were entertained. Now I want to hear from you. In the comment section, I want to know what you're doing to create your own identity. How are you separating yourself from everybody else who's ever stepped foot in the career that you're following? Afterwards, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share the video. Follow me on Twitter at Sermons Domain, and as always, thank you for your time. I appreciate you for watching, and until next time, peace.